Welcome to Sustainable Packaging with Cory Connors. Today's guest is my friend, Mr. Jim Wilson, the co-founder and CEO of the Box Latch company. Hey, Jim, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day here in Pennsylvania. A little wind and chilly, but nice.
Excellent. Looks like you're in a very bright room, so the sun's out. I like to see that.
It sure is.
Can you tell us about your background, sir? How did you get into this business?
Well, the longer one lives, the harder it is to confine the response to this question to anything reasonable. And I've lived a long time.
Yes.
So a short history of my background includes graduating from Iowa State University's College of Veterinary Medicine in 1967.
Oh, wow.
And guess what? For a single man who was 23 years old, that included almost instant draft papers for the war in Vietnam.
Sure.
Fortunately, I could enlist in the Air Force as a veterinarian. So when the draft notice arrived in July, 2 months after I graduated, I sent in my application for a commission as a captain in the Air Force and was lucky enough to be sent to Germany.
Excellent.
So that was like going to college for 2 years. Living somewhere other than Midwest of USA to overseas in Europe was an amazing experience, which opened my eyes and made me think I wanted to do something more with my education than just have that science-based veterinary side. So, and thank goodness the GI Bill was available to help provide for the funding. So I applied for, was accepted at UCLA's School of Law, and
Wow.
graduated from UCLA and with a law degree and a veterinary degree now in 1973.
Excellent.
So,
Wow.
so ask me, what did you do with those 2 degrees?
You started a packaging company, huh?
No, that was 1973. So it was like, okay, here I am. I'm the 3rd veterinarian in the United States with these 2 degrees. What do I do?
Right.
I truly loved veterinary medicine. And so I became an emergency clinician veterinarian for one of the privately owned practices in Los Angeles, and then moved to the San Francisco Bay Area, once again as an emergency veterinarian, and then bought into a small animal practice and lived there for a long time until 1986. So as you can see, none of this has anything to do with box latches.
We're not there yet, right?
But I worked my butt off in law school. I really found it was an incredibly good and challenging education, and I wanted to get some kind of a return on investment.
Right.
So in 1986, my wife and my family and I moved from the West Coast to the East Coast, and I went into hibernation for almost 2 years and wrote a textbook called Law and Ethics for the Veterinary Profession. It was kind of amazing because while I was practicing veterinary medicine in California, I was an adjunct professor at UC Davis.
Oh, wow.
And my colleagues up there said, hey, Jim, if you really want to be an authority in anything, you have to write a book. So we did that. And that catapulted me to the head of the pack on the subject, which eventually led to me teaching as a professor in blocks of 8 to 20 hours at anywhere from 10 to 18 veterinary schools per year all over the USA.
Oh, cool.
So what does that have to do with box latches? Nothing. However, it taught me a lot. 1, about education, number 2, about teaching, number 3, about marketing. And it taught me a lot about organizational efforts to be amazingly organized. So after traveling 110 days a year for those years, I finally found an up-and-coming veterinary colleague, prior student of mine, who had a veterinary degree and a law degree. And I passed over this massive college teaching program to him.
Nice.
And so that then created time for me to basically go to work full-time with no pay for the Box Latch company, helping Jack with all of his efforts. And
Wow.
so now, as I enter my 80th year in my 6th career, here I am. We finally got to the subject for the day.
I love it. Thank you, sir. What a background. Very impressive and really cool to see this journey that you've taken to get you into sustainable packaging. So Jack is your brother.
Right. Jack's my younger brother. I've got 3. He's the 2nd youngest brother, and he has many of the talents that I don't have. And one of the things we tell people is that we have remarkably different characteristics. And if you want to go into business with somebody, don't find somebody just like you.
Right. Very well said. Jack started the company. Did he invent this idea, or did you work on it together?
Well, actually, we actually began this whole process back in 2010.
Oh, wow.
And Jack was part of a entrepreneur and inventors club in Wisconsin through the University of Wisconsin Extension and was asked to be a judge at one of their events. So he goes up to Wisconsin Rapids and he's judging the various inventions, entrepreneurial efforts. And he sees this elderly gentleman with this odd three-piece injection molded tool that
Mhm.
screws together and goes down and will be able to latch and close a box without the use of tape. So that whole idea fascinated him. And he came home and he did some research. He loved inventing things. That was his dyslexia, let him see things so differently. And he discovered that 90% of boxes were only used once.
Yeah.
So that prompted him, we began working together. This was back in 2010, to figure out that if 10% of that number were used 10 times, we could reduce the overall usage of boxes by 40%.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that led us to believe there had to be a market for something besides tape.
Yes.
And obviously, with massive single package shipping to consumers, reuse of boxes was not going to be nearly the same as it could be in the business to business world.
Right.
So we were both hooked on making that device, our new patented and invented Box Latch, readily available for businesses. And we also had a passion to generate a better world for our children and our grandchildren. It's truly our belief that if we don't look, I mean, I really feel badly that our baby boomer population has not looked after the climate issues as we should to pass on a better world. And so we kept thinking we've got to come up with something, and we knew of the word post-it that 3M had created.
Yeah.
So we tried to decide, how do we create a product that closes boxes so we can become the new post-it? And
Well,
that's where Box Latch came in.
let's show the world what this is, because this is the video we're recording here. I've got some samples here that you sent me. And can we do that now? Is that a good time?
Sure, it's a good time. Yeah.
So these are a whole bunch of them. They come in all kinds of colors. And these are box latches. And this is how they close a box. Just like that. No tape is needed. I know there's tape on this box, but this is me resealing this box with a box latch for storage or work in process. Generally is what this is used for. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
And the intent is that the company that's using this doesn't have to use a whole bunch of plastic tape to then almost immediately, you know, in a day or two or several hours sometimes, open it again with a knife and then re-tape it. This is an intention to be used hundreds or even thousands of times. It's very sturdy, very well made to save that plastic tape from being used and damaging the box.
Well, you know, and that's what we thought when we first started. We thought we were selling a product that did exactly what you described, and it does. It does it very, very effectively.
Great.
What we discovered in the B2B world is that we're selling a process change from
Like that.
the automatic inclination to use tape to a different system where recycling had sort of become the norm or the ideal.
Right.
But recycling is bloody expensive. There's all kinds of costs involved in getting things from the source to the recycler, then back, and then for the same purpose.
Right.
And so the more we thought about it, well, we also wanted to be able to reduce human injuries, because every time you use a box cutter to cut these things open, there's a chance of that. Then there's a chance of damaging the contents that go along with that. And so then there's savings for time, because in fact, it's a lot faster to put one of these little buggers on there than it is to go find a tape gun.
Yeah.
And you got to refill the tape gun, and you get angry every time you do that because it doesn't refill properly.
Right.
So what we began to realize that the processes were more important than the product. The product was simply something that was going to be a long-term effective mechanism. And that's kind of been the struggle to get businesses to look beyond tape.
That's a great point. This is an education issue where we need to teach people how to use this new concept. Well said.
That's exactly what happened, and where I liked all my experience as a teacher, trying to teach what I call the rest of the story. I
Yeah.
mean, in veterinary school, everybody else taught them how to be veterinarians. And then I saw my job was, well, how do you create a budget and a resume and get a job and negotiate for a job? And it was about how do you market yourself as a
Mhm.
product graduating from veterinary school? And here we are with a product we're using to market to the masses for changing processes.
Mm. Well, it's an amazing product. I really enjoy it. And where we met was at the Pack Expo, your little area. What was that called? The new products,
There was an emerging brands
merging brands. That's right.
full day summit preceding that massive Pack Expo show. And it was the first time Pack Expo had done that. And one of my questions for you, why did you stop at our booth?
Well, I was very fascinated by what you had to offer. I thought it was really interesting. I thought it immediately caught my eye. I've been in packaging for 25 years and had never seen anything like that. So I said, nice to meet you. Can I take a video of you showing me how this works? Right?
Yep, that was Jack. That was my brother. He was
Oh, that
standing
was your
there.
brother. That's right.
And that was
That's
Dan
right.
Abrams. Dan Abrams was our manufacturer's rep was there.
Right, right. He was there too. And then we took that video and we put it on TikTok
Right.
at Corrugated. And it's over 1.7 million views now. It's gone viral big time. You know, I only have 80,000 followers, so 1.7 million is massive. How has that affected your business? Have people found you because of that video?
It is so hard to measure marketing effects. You can do all kinds of things and throw things out there. And we've been doing that for many, many years.
Right.
But what we discovered was that we've doubled our online shopping cart orders, more than double,
Wow.
in the
Amazing.
25 days after that occurred from any previous month. Not everyone can we identify came from the TikTok video, but nonetheless, the awareness, market awareness, I think, is out there, which we can't thank you enough for helping us figure out how to reach that market.
Oh, it was an honor. It was a lot of fun. And it was great content for me. So we all win.
Yeah, we
And
do.
I think it's really a cool product. And most importantly, the planet wins, because this will reduce unnecessary tape from being just dispensed.
Used
And
indiscriminately, used
yeah,
for everything
exactly.
that. Do you have those clip and stacks available too?
Yeah.
Because that's an interesting story by itself. While we're at a trade show in the Netherlands, along comes a plant
Is
manager.
that
Yes,
these
that's it.
guys? Yeah.
Right. Along comes a plant manager from Michael Kors, the big ladies apparel distribution. And he says, I really can't use your box latches, but boy, can I use your clip and stacks as they go over the corners. He said, I could use something that would hold the flaps down and open.
Oh, yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
put them on? Do you have a box there?
Well, I do.
Alternatively, I wasn't sure we were going to have the whole video. I thought it
Yeah.
was going to be pure audio, because I can.
So this system keeps the box open while you're loading it.
Right.
That's the intent, right? Okay.
Not
Yeah.
only does it keep the flaps open and out of the way, you can put forum on it, and now you can stack open boxes.
Which is,
And as soon as you can stack open boxes, you are making totes, collapsible totes out of cardboard. And then if you go to pick them up, and these can stack amazingly high, including a lot of weight, because all of the weight is on the corners,
amazing.
where you already have now a double layered set of cardboard.
Which is where the corrugated box is the strongest already. A lot of people don't know that, and the boxes should be stacked vertically.
All that strength is this way, not horizontally.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
What a cool product. And that's called the box.
That's called the clip and stack.
Clip and stack. Okay. Clip and stack and Box Latch. Excellent products. What a cool company you've started. I love it. And most of your customers are small to medium size, or even big companies that are manufacturing. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, It's an amazing mix of customers. Our biggest customers are apparel companies that have distribution and fulfillment centers.
Ah,
So where this fits incredibly well is in picking and packing and fulfilling orders. Burlington Stores, one of our biggest customers in the USA, has 11 distribution centers. They get material in boxes from all over, and then they have to tag it, and then
oh,
they have to reshuffle it to send it out in orders to all of their retail stores.
yeah.
And so what happens, they've got the racks on one side where they were removing things and tagging, and then they were taking things out and putting them on the opposite side, and the flaps were getting in the way and they were hitting people. And if they're open boxes, the flaps were hitting them on the floor, they were tripping over them.
Right.
And all of a sudden they realized not only can we reduce that problem, we can also fill the boxes more completely full, because in fact, instead of the flaps being in the way, you've got a nice open box.
It's cool.
So it's
What a
really
great
interesting.
concept.
So our biggest customers are VF with over 100,000 of these in the Czech Republic.
Wow.
And the smallest is one here near my hometown in Pennsylvania who's got 20 of these. Okay. And he loves them in the tiny little business. So it's a whole gamut of sizes of businesses.
It's a fascinating world we live in, where all kinds of businesses, big and small, need different services and
Yeah.
assistance with packaging. That's one of the favorite parts of this job for me, has been the tour and
Yeah.
getting to see, oh, this is how this is done. And being able to suggest, oh, well, have you tried Box Latch? That could be a different system, instead of taping this and then breaking it down. Or I see you've got 500 boxes stacked up over there in the corner. Would it be helpful to you if they stacked straight and didn't fall over on your employees? Right.
Exactly. There's another thing, and you don't have to have racking systems for everything. You can actually stack them on pallets, and you can, and the security for these are closed by the latches. The security is not tape. It's secured by a stretch wrap typically,
Right.
where they're stretch wrapping pallets, and with the clip and stack, they'll frequently stack them and then close the top box and then ship them from one location, point A to point B, open.
Yeah.
Don't even have to bother to reopen them. Simply open the top one, and all of a sudden you've saved a massive amount of time. And the stretch wrapping provide what the securities.
That's excellent. And corrugated can be used dozens and dozens of times, like you said, instead of single use. So I had a question for you. Why is the Box Latch more sustainable than plastic tape?
Well, let's clarify things. In my mind, tape is not a sustainable option. The more layers of tape you put on the box, the more damage it does. The more times you have to use a box knife to cut it open. You try to tear it off, and it tears the paper off the top of the box. It does provide good security in that regard, but because of its adhesive properties, you really can't use boxes 10, 20, 30, 40 times.
Right.
And one of our customers, Wisconsin Plastics, uses our box latches to close their boxes. They have not bought new boxes in over a year and a half.
Wow. That's excellent. And they're using paper corrugated.
They're using paper corrugate box,
Wow.
closed with the box latch with an anchor on each end. And with them, we're just working with them this past week to use our calculator. Did I send you our calculator?
Yeah, no, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, we got two different calculators that allow people to look at savings and leverage the savings. And one of the things I wanted to be sure we covered is that people don't realize the benefits of closing without tape. One, you can reuse your boxes more readily. You don't have to buy tape.
Yeah.
You can save a huge amount of time. It's true of the clip and stack as well. When they're stacked, you can save floor space. Between point A and point B, you can't collapse plastic totes. You
Right.
can collapse cardboard boxes, and all of a sudden, instead of having empty totes being moved from one place to another, you've got 300 collapsed boxes in a pallet box. And then there's the human injury savings. There's the contamination issue of keeping these boxes closed for purposes. There's the disposal, or the waste disposal, the whole idea of not being able to reuse and simply think about recycling. You also have no damage to the contents because you're not using box cutters. And so oftentimes shipping in partitioned boxes, which we talked about with Wisconsin Plastics, makes all kinds of sense. Because once you partition those boxes, it's simply much easier to inventory everything.
Right.
And so once again, the gamut of savings, I think, are what people fail to realize. And that's what I'd love to demonstrate to anybody who's interested, the calculators, and provide our calculators to those people so they can begin to see that this is not just reusing boxes. Matter of fact, frequently it's other forms of savings that are even higher than the box reuse itself.
Excellent. Well done, and I really appreciate this. It's awesome to meet you and your team there in Chicago. I'm excited to see where this leads for the future.
Can I show you? Can I show you one more? This is our
Please.
newest.
Yeah, of course.
Our newest product is the twist.
Okay.
The box latch twist. It goes on like that. Flap goes down. And that's it.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I'd love to talk to you. We're going to begin manufacturing this in large quantities in December.
Okay.
And I'd love to come back and talk to you in sometime in 2023.
Yeah, let's do another episode.
As a consumer product that could be used in a household so easily, as well as in businesses. So I really appreciate the chance to work with you and talk to you, and having met you at the Emerging Brands was phenomenal. Just you never know what's next.
Right. That's it. And I think that's why that show is so important at Pack Expo, to show the emerging brands, to show the new products that are coming out in the world of packaging. And I got to hear all kinds of amazing speakers at that event too. But how do people get in touch with you when they're ready to buy these products?
Well, they can get in touch with me with my email, which is james@boxlatch.com, or the phone number, which is 570-359-258. But best of all, I encourage people to go to our YouTube channel, YouTube channel, and our Box Latch website, because on those two resources are massive numbers of how to use these, where are they used. And if anybody would like to talk specifically about calculating savings and the return on the investment, just get a hold of me and we'll work together on it.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, sir. Appreciate your time. This has been great.
Thank you so much, Cory.